I think what I'm doing lately is rambling on, thinking out loud, basically. The idea of our hide and seek reality, or the obsession of being always right. And I listen back to the videos that I make and the way I talk, and I don't post right away. I try to annotate things because as I think about it more, it changes in my mind. Things change in my mind. It's the nature of how I work. There is nothing fixed, especially when you're dealing with what I consider to be eternity, the mystery that we are within. We're engulfed in a mystery, and the circumstances within that mystery can be either pleasant or unpleasant, neutral. I'm not sure how to express it, but I was listening to Harold Bloom, a critic, and I would call him the master of the knowing of nothing. Harold Bloom, he's a very articulate critic, literary critic, American-centric, has focused his literary criticism on, he loves Shakespeare and literary individuals, but he focuses on America and the triumphalism that is now ubiquitous or let me put it this way, the American triumphalism affects everyone right now in the sense of an immediacy. It's like what is apparent to all people of conscience, people that are understanding the fight that we're in, the fight of our lives. And I'm making these little dissertations, these thoughts that come to mind, and the knowing of nothing and articulating eternity. And what I was reflecting on is the notion of knowing is very elusive from the point of view that people that know, or that we think know, always miss it. They always miss it. I don't know why that is. The Harold Blooms of the world, these literary types, the people that try to decipher the meaning of the universe according to Emerson or Whitman, Hart Crane, people that he loves, Shakespeare, Bud Powell, Duke Ellington, people that have produced something of value for us to chew on. So this idea of the knowing of nothing largely refers to intellect, the idea that we have a capacity intellectually to decipher eternity. What hubris, what incredible hubris. Now, I'm sure that a person like Harold Bloom or other critics, whether it's on the art side of things, and they always miss it, by the way, for the most part. There are some that actually were quite astute and understood things, but for the most part, the idea of the intellect having any kind of relevance to the understanding or to deciphering what it is that we're involved in, this mystery, what I consider to be eternity, being part and to articulate eternity, does not focus primarily on intellect. And it's kind of like that idea that comes out of the First Corinthian, that quote from Corinthians that says, if I speak the tongues of men or angels or whatever it is, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And the idea behind this, okay, if you want to invoke the concept of love, and I feel so protective of this word love that I'd rather just defer to the idea of carrying all those kind of virtues and attributes that would be connected to goodness or kindness is more in line. So when I say the knowing of nothing, it is basically this idea of Corinthians 13:1 that is representative of this notion of who we are at any given time in our lives, and that is from moment to moment. It's not, for me, it's not a matter of accumulating. I mean, you see behind me, I've been making painting a long time, but I'm only as good as the moment that I'm in. And the moment that I'm in is generally, if I'm by myself, I need to get into the depth of what it is that who I am at this moment, or if I'm with people, who the people are that are around me. and what it is that I am connected with, connected to at any given moment. And the idea of the knowing of nothing is very apropos again as I ruminate people like Harold Bloom, these consummate intellectuals who have a capacity that is just incredible, outstanding. The idea that he proclaimed he could read 1,000 pages an hour, which would work out to less than 4 seconds a page. And I left a comment on his little dissertation. I said, for somebody who can read 1,000 pages an hour and has missed the age of fission, I rather doubt the depth of this person. And I think this is what it comes down to in our fight, people. I'm making these dissertations, the last couple that I've done, and the knowing of nothing. There is a principle whereby we become people that deserve to be called people. What I also like to think of in terms of being born, which hasn't happened. I've mentioned this before. There is no such thing as to be reborn, like the fundamentalist types would like to have us think about our reality, as though we have some kind of privilege of, oh yes, we're born already and we're kind of functioning in there, but we need to really be reborn to get it right. No, we haven't been born yet. We haven't been born yet. That's my premise. Through my understanding of the way that potential we have as human beings is being now, considering we're in the fight of our lives, with the idea of the nuclearism that is going to totally saturate the environment, what we understand to be a living planet. No longer will be able to live with isotopes, nuclear isotopes, thousands and thousands of exotic toxic isotopes that we are complicit in producing this mass death. And this is not connected to the sixth extinction event, as a lot of people talk about, like this McPherson guy who gives us 10 years. What a numbnut. What a total wingnut. You know, we have 10 years and there won't be people left. This is his conclusion. And of course, my whole thing about these people is their predictiveness, their predictive, how they're able to predict. They think they understand the time, but they miss it all the time. He talks about climate change. They went from climate warming, global warming, to climate change, and it's the hottest ever. It's not true. It's not the hottest ever. It is not. And it's the sun. It's not man. But what is man? What is man? We are dirty bastards. But what really is man is the nuclear pollution that is actually going to put the nail in the coffin. It's not, well, if the sun does its thing and we have our climate change based on the sun, what are you going to do? You're going to put a cover over the earth? Well, maybe that's what they're doing with the chemtrails. Maybe that's what the geoengineering part is. They figured it out. The sun is going to hit us, and let's protect ourselves from the sun. I doubt it. I doubt it. Actually, I have not researched chemtrails enough. There are people that have done it. But the real culprit in our lives isn't even nuclear. The worst of the worst, as far as I'm concerned. It's this knowing of nothing, and exposing ourselves to the charlatans and the swamis and the gurus of knowing of nothing, whether they're literary or whether they're religious or whether they're anything. These are people of very little or no value to us whatsoever, other than being entertaining. And to have a dissertation on Emerson or Whitman or invoke Shakespeare is irrelevant, is totally irrelevant. What does Shakespeare do for you in terms of becoming a better person? This is what we have to ask ourselves. What does it really matter to me? And whether I can actually remember and have a dissertation and regurgitate all the things that someone of brilliance has done before us is of no value, unless it really becomes recognized within ourselves in some form or other, which is why I make paintings. And the influence that I take in from other artists, from other people that I appreciate, that I try to absorb into my own nature, is merely there in order to generate and light the spark within myself to become the best I can be through the activities that I do. And it's not primarily the art, is being the person of conscience, that is a struggle every day to do the right thing, not to know a lot, to know a lot. Yeah, the knowledge, the knowing of nothing, like the blooms on this planet. And whatever nobility they have as people, I hope he's a decent person and he gives his wife a hug and his friends a hug and all that kind of stuff. But then to promote everything else other than that, what really matters, makes him a person of knowing nothing. He is the poster child for that from what I've come across. So anyway, I just thought I'm going to make this as a headline and articulate what it is and check out Corinthians. It makes a lot of sense that, if we cannot conquer this inner part of ourselves, that inner battle, that Fuka Shiva, the now I've become destroyer of worlds, this metaphor that we're losing the inner battle, and that's all there is. There is the inner battle, and whatever there is that can be salvaged every day it gets worse with these nuclear isotopes. But whatever can be salvaged will be salvaged because we have come to a resolution on that inner battle. That we're going to win that inner battle. That's the only thing that really matters. And out of that will come the solutions that will present themselves, because people are fabulous. People are brilliant. Even this Bloom guy, wow, what a memory, what a mind. So, but it's not being used right. It's not being used.